So, what was that about hitting on me? Mika said, raising her eyebrow curiously. Are you sure you're not trying to make a move on me? She asked, crossing her arms a bit, with a bit of a sly smile, as she looked at Mia. Okay, Captain, I'm gonna be straight with you, Mia replied. You are way hot. Like top shelf hot. The idea of me, you, and a gallon of Corvassian jelly would be a fantasy I wouldn't want to wake up from. If you actually told me it was an option, I'd be all over you. However, I do understand that you are the captain of the ship. So, I will contain myself, of course. But that doesn't mean I can't still spend time with you, right? I mean, get to know you a bit. And let the fact that I think you might be the hottest woman I've ever seen be neither here nor there, Mia said, with a smile still plastered on her face. So what do you say, Captain? Me, you, dinner, a little TV. If nothing else, it should help you unwind. And I promise I'll keep my hands to myself, no matter how tempting the prospect. Mika giggled a bit, holding her side as she covered her mouth, trying to keep the giggle at bay. Don't worry about it, Mia. And thank you for the series of compliments. I'm quite used to receiving them from men. It's actually a little bit flattering to hear them from women as well. I think I might have just found out something new about myself. Mika said, smiling and giggling once more. But fantasies aside, we should probably just keep this strictly platonic. I'm alright with being your friend, but any more might endanger our relationship as captain and crew member. But dinner and some TV does sound nice. So, if you're all finished here, I would love an escort. Awesome, Mia replied. Okay, Oscar, I am clocking out early, Mia said, turning around to Oscar. I'll clock in early tomorrow to compensate. You want to nitpick over the details? You got it. Something that I like even more than engineering just offers itself up on a plate. And I am not throwing this possibility to the wind. So, I'll see you tomorrow, Mia said, smiling as she walked up, slinging her arm underneath Mika's. If you would allow me to escort you, Captain, she said with a smile, as she began to lead Mika out of engineering, quite giddily at that. After which, Mika and Mia had a fairly good time, going to the mess hall and finding that the chef was preparing Sorvassian roast, which was quite delicious. And they got their plates first. Perks of being the captain. They spent some time in the mess hall eating with one another, talking over little things, favorite hobbies, childhood activities. Mika actually filled Mia in on the fact that she used to be a pirate, even though she was only playing pretend to get revenge. They shared stories for about an hour, with Mia filling Captain Mika in on her life on Toliala. Apparently, Mia had arrived on Toliala on a garbage hauler of all things, there to pick up some hazardous materials and dispose of them. Mia had stowed away on board in order to get herself to Toliala, after which she quickly found her way into the world of engineering, serving as an apprentice engineer in order to make her living while learning the trade. After dinner, Mia and Mika made their way back to Mia's room and began watching the Kothian comedy TV series, Koromo Perveris, which, true to its reputation, was quite hysterical. Both Mika and Mia finding themselves laughing abundantly during this show. There were also commercials recorded along with the program. They could have skipped them However, instead of simply skipping, they would mute the projection and talk amongst themselves while the commercials were playing, discussing what was going on in the show, and sharing little bits of more detail. For example, Mia filled Mika in on some aspects of her race that Mika was unfamiliar with. Mia being a Pai Mei, which was a lesser-known race. Very few people ever saw them. Just like Mika and the Okai, they were fairly isolationist, keeping to themselves at a far outer segment of this quadrant of space. Mika, however, was surprised to learn that there was no such thing as male on Mia's home world. All of her people were female. It was the only gender, which was somewhat surprising. Mika, of course, had questions about how exactly that could work, and Mia had no problem explaining. Unlike Mika's first thought, which was that they simply reproduced asexually, which was quickly contradicted by the idea that Mia was interested in her sexually, which only made it all the more confusing. But Mia explained that mating with someone of her species worked much differently. During the process, her species was actually able to exchange genetic information with their partner, taking portions of their partner's DNA into themselves, and from it, generating an offspring, whether they were male or female. And if their partner was female, it also worked in the opposite direction. However, unlike most races where the act of intercourse itself was enough, with Mia's race, it was actually a conscious choice, something that they had to decide to do, which according to Mia was actually hard not to. Apparently, the process for which they create offspring enhances the sensory connection between the two drastically, like an explosive, seemingly never-ending orgasm that just seemed to stretch on until the process was complete, which could take hours, which Mika actually had to shake out of her head for a moment as the television show came back on, just in time to let Mika clear her head a bit. True to her word, Mia kept her hands to herself, keeping their exchange platonic, friendly, but not too friendly. Nevertheless, they enjoyed the time they spent there, eventually ending up trading shots of some Tolialan wine that Mia had brought on board along with her. Exceptionally strong stuff, which was why they took it in shots rather than in glasses, with the night finally finishing out with Mika bidding Mia farewell and exiting the room in order to journey back to her own. Mika left with a smile on her face and feeling quite content with herself, having finally gotten some relaxation time in. A little tipsy, she finally made her way back to her room, where she passed out, fully dressed, pressing her face into her pillow, and slept like she hadn't slept in ages. The next day, Mika got up and began her routine duties as normal. However, the exchange with Mia had sparked a change in Mika's mindset. Perhaps she couldn't be close friends with every member of the crew, but perhaps, just perhaps, it might be a good idea to befriend the command members of the crew, so that they themselves would be more tight-knit. She would understand them a bit better, and in understanding them better, be able to more effectively reason out what they're capable of, and what to expect when she hands down orders. She doubted getting to know everyone would be as entertaining as spending time with Mia. However, Mika looked forward to it all the same, hoping that, in the end, it would only prove beneficial for both herself and her crew.